Hi everybody, welcome back to Best of British Blackwell. Thank you for tuning in. Today we're going to be cooking the winner of the viewers vote, which was conducted on the Facebook page. The choice was between bread pudding and fish and chips. I'm glad to say that fish and chips won, so thanks everybody for voting. Really simple dish to make really, but really flavoursome and a proper British classic. So come over, have a look at the ingredients and we'll make a start. Okay, so we're going to make a start with this really classic British dish. As you can see, 2 star ingredients here, some decent potatoes where we're going to make some triple cooked chips. So they're not going to be the standard chips, we're going to cook them 3 times. I'll show you that in more detail a little bit later. But then we've also got a lovely big piece of cod here. Now I'm feeding 3 people with this piece of cod, so I'm going to be cutting this down into smaller sections. But as you can see, it's a beautiful ingredient, really nice and fresh and really thick there. You're going to get a lovely bit of flavour from that. We're going to make the batter using some plain flour, some baking soda and some turmeric and a bit of salt. And then I'm also going to be making some tartar sauce as well, using our little gherkins here, some pickled onions and some mayonnaise. So what we want to start off by doing now is prepping the potatoes to get them ready to go into the pan for their first cook. So the chips are really straightforward. In essence, they're going to be cooked 3 times. So the first part of the cooking is parboiling them. The second part is giving them a quick fry. And then the third part is frying them again. So triple cooked chips, they're very, very popular at the moment. Lots of places are doing them. The key to triple cooked chips is that you don't want to make the potatoes too thin because they won't withstand the cooking process. So they need to be quite thick. But that's the kind of type of chip you get from a fish and chip shop anyway. So I won't bore you with the peeling of the potatoes. I've already done some chips, but let me just give you an example of the kind of thickness that you're looking for. So I'm going to get 3 chips out of here. So as you can see, nice big chunky chips there. They go straight into a saucepan from the chopping board. Let me just finish this one off. Now the trick when parboiling them is not to overboil them because they'll start to turn into mashed potato and you really don't want that. You just want to parboil them to the stage that they are just going soft around the outside. And the best way to do that really is get them into a saucepan here and then bring that saucepan to the boil. And then you know they're done. Take them off the moment they come to the boil. It's going to take about 5 minutes. While our potatoes are parboiling, I'm going to make a start on the batter. And obviously this is a very important part of the process. We use plain flour for the batter. Any plain flour will do. You want about 150 grams, I suppose, of plain flour. Key ingredients in this, the batter's only going to be as good as the ingredients that you use. The flour's very simple, but this is going to be a beer batter. So I'm using some fizzy lager in this as well. That's going to add to the bubbles, add to the crispiness, add to the texture of that batter, and that's what you're looking for. You're looking for that crunch. So we add some pepper and some salt. Good amount of salt. Plenty of seasoning. And then we've got 2 ingredients in here. We've got some baking soda, which is here. And we've also got some turmeric, which is going to give us a lovely yellow colour. Turmeric isn't really going to add in terms of flavour because the flavour is going to be kind of lost on the fish. So you're really just putting that in there for looks more than anything else. And then you get your lager. Don't add it all to start off with, just make sure you've got enough in there to just blend these ingredients together. Just add it gradually. You can already kind of hear the bubbles working away. Get the last lot in there. Give it a good mix. I always make a mess at this stage. And as you can see, the bubbles are already rising to the top here. So you know that the bubbles are having the desired effect of keeping oxygen and air inside this batter. And you just give it a good whisk now, and you'll see it's taken on a really nice texture and consistency. Now we move on to preparing this cod. And it's very simple really. If you have a look at this piece of cod, you'll see that there's a really thick loin part here, and then there's a slightly thinner loin there. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to take a knife, just cut down the side here, and with this part I'm going to make 2 smaller pieces of fish, which are ideal really for kids' portions. And then this part here I'm just going to chop in half and make 2 big adult size battered portions. But first, whenever you get a piece of fish from your fishmonger or from your supermarket, you'll find that they can't always get the bones out. So you've got a couple of bones along here which you need to get out. I'm now just going to go along with some tweezers and pin bone and take the bones out. Okay, so I've been through the fish and I've taken out the bones. As you can see, there are actually quite a few bones in this piece of cod. They're just there on the left hand side of the screen now. They wouldn't have been very nice to eat. And actually, if you're going to be feeding this kind of meal to kids as well, you want to make sure that there's as few kind of things that can hurt them in there as possible. But you know, you're never going to get it perfect. There may still be 1 or 2 tiny little bones in there. You just have to be very careful. Okay, so let's move on to the cutting part, where we portion this fish up. And as I said, nice sharp knife, we're going to run it down the loin here. So I'm going to take this piece off here. And I'm going to make 2 pieces out of that. I'm also going to make 2 pieces out of this. I'm just going to cut this in half. 1 nice big adult sized piece. There's the second adult size piece, and the reason I've cut this a little bit longer is that there's more fish on there. This is obviously a little bit thicker and this is a bit thinner, so you want to make it a little bit longer. And here, you know, you can cut this into 3 or 4 different pieces, you know, some different child-sized pieces. I'm going to probably cut it into 3. Cut it along there and along there, kind of almost make some fish goujons if you like. Now, what we do with this is we get a tray with some flour on, which I've got here. And what we want to do is to check each piece of fish again, just with your hands, just to make sure that you've not missed out any bones. So give them a good check. It all feels absolutely fine. Pay particular attention to the kid-sized pieces. Don't feel like there's any bones in there. And then what you want to do is give them a nice coating of flour. So, ready to move on to the next stage with the potatoes. All I did is stuck them in a pan, brought the pan to the boil, and then took the potatoes straight off. We don't want to cook them out in here. Now I'm just pouring them straight into another baking tray, which I've stuck some kitchen roll into the bottom of. What we want to do now is let these kind of just stand, cool down. They've been cooked 1 time only. There's still a little bit of give in them. They're not like mashed potato. That's the first part over. Just stick them to one side. We're going to be frying those off for the first time very, very soon. But before we do that, I'm going to show you how to make some really tasty, very simple tartar sauce. Okay, so tartar sauce. Not everybody's favourite, but I actually quite like it. And I've developed a neat little trick to making it really quickly. Lots of people use shallots, chopped up shallots and gherkins and so on in there. I don't use shallots, I use pickled onions. I use the little silver skin pickled onions like this one here. So I still chop it up the same way that you would a shallot. Just chop it up nice and fine. And the reason that I use the pickled onion is I love the acidity that it's got, and it can also just add a new flavour dimension to the tartar sauce. People try my tartar sauce and they always ask me what the secret ingredient is, and I'm really giving it away now. So it's this, and I'm using these little kind of pickled cornichons or corniches if you like, these tiny little things, and these are perfect for the tartar sauce as well. And I don't chop them up too finely because I actually like the taste of these as well, and I like the texture of them. So I don't want to blitz them or lose the texture of these. Got an ultra sharp knife here, so I'm just trying not to cut my fingers off. So chop these up. Probably will chop them a little bit finer than that in a moment. That's probably all we need for the amount that we've got. And what I've got in here is 2 decent tablespoons of mayonnaise. I'll be honest with you, I use the cheaper mayonnaise here. You can make your own, certainly, but actually because you're adding these flavours in there, it doesn't need to be the best mayonnaise in the world by any means. Just needs to be a mayonnaise really. Throw out onions and gherkins or corniches, cornichons, whatever you want to call them, into the mayonnaise here. You'll also see I've got some lemon. We add a good squeeze of lemon juice in there, again adding to the acidity, and then finally we just give that a stir. Probably going to make a real mess now, but you just stir that in. Take your time with it and get it all mixed in there nicely. That is going to come together beautifully to make a lovely tartar sauce. Okay, on to the second stage of cooking these chips now. As you can see, I've taken a batch out of the pan that we had them cooling in, straight into the deep fat fryer net. This is on 160. We're going to give them a very brief fry in here. 160 is quite hot. What you're looking to do here is really get a nice golden colour on these chips. Okay, these have been in for a couple of minutes. And as you can see, they're already starting to turn that noticeable kind of chip shop style golden brown. These, I'm going to let the excess oil drain off on these, and then I'm going to stick them back into this this baking tray with the paper, just to cool off. And that's, I'll stick the second batch in, and then that is basically the second part of the cooking process done for these chips. Okay, chips have been cooked for the second time now. Now it's time to move on to the fish. So I've brought it nice and close to the deep fat fryer, so I'm not spilling ingredients everywhere. What we're going to do is we're going to start off with the biggest piece first. So again, give it another turn in the flour, brush off any excess flour, you don't want too much on there. Dip it in the batter, give it a nice decent coat, completely cover the fish in the batter. Just hold it up to take off the excess. Give it another coat at the bottom here as well. Messy job, someone's got to do it. And what you do is take it over to the deep fat fryer, dip it in, hold it there for a moment, and then lay the fish away from you like that. Then we cook that for about 10 to 12 minutes. Okay, so our first bit of fish has been in for that now for about 10-12 minutes. I think it's ready to come out. So just being very careful here. Get my spoon. Let that drain off. Get it onto some greaseproof, some kitchen roll straight away to drain the excess fat off. And then we go in with another piece. Okay, another little handy little hint for you to get a really nice extra treat out of this meal is when you're finished with the batter, rather than throwing it away, just drip a few bits and pieces into the oil, and as you can see what's happening, look what floats to the top. These lovely little bits of crackling, as my granddad would call them, or bits as some people call them, but they're absolutely fantastic as a little treat to go on top of the fish. I'm going to add a couple more. Big bits. You can just fish those out with your spoon once they're nice and golden brown, and you've got an additional treat there, which is absolutely lovely. Fish is cooked. Now it's time to finish the chips off. Back in on 160 for another fry. Okay, so we're at the stage now where we're ready to serve this up. And because I didn't want to offend all opinions on what you should have with fish and chips, we've got a little bit of everything. Nice bit of bread and butter, a couple of pickled onions there, a couple of little mini gherkins. We've got some curry sauce, we've got some mushy peas, get those on there, and then finally it's time to get some of our chips onto this plate. Hear that? Can you hear those lovely crispy chips? There we go. Won't overload the plate. Try not to spill all these chips. There we go. Look at that. That is homemade fish and chips with a lovely homemade batter, some mushy peas, triple cooked chips, and all you do is get some of your lovely crackling pieces on top. Get decent bit of salt on your chips, and finally I love to finish mine off with a good crack of vinegar. Now, moment of truth, let's chop this fish open. Oh, I nearly forgot my little chefy bit there, which is a bit of lemon. Listen to that crackle on that fish, and look at that piece of cod there. Lovely, lovely flaky piece of fish. Beautiful on the inside. That is absolutely superb. Tartar sauce is lovely. Adds that bit of acidity in there. Honestly, you don't have to mess around with the triple cooked chips if you don't want to. You can just fry some chips off, get that fish in there. You saw a big chunk of fish like that took 10 minutes to cook, and it's well worth it. Let me also try this curry sauce. I made this curry sauce just using some curry powder and some katsu curry paste. And it tastes just like you would get from the chip shop. Again guys, thank you for voting for this. Thank you for watching. Keep watching. Enjoy.